Welcome here. Close your eyes. Take a few just deep breaths to arrive more fully. And when you feel that you are present here, that you, I think of present and accounted for, like you are in this moment. You're not ruminating about some future moment that hasn't happened yet, or dwelling in some way on some past moment. When you feel like you are here, notice what here feels like. There is a madhurya, a sweetness to residing in the moment, a feeling of presence that is captivating and all-encompassing. And that sort of leads me into what I want to just chat about for a minute this morning, which is that I was talking to Kendra earlier today. She's in our class right now. And we were just checking in with each other. How are things going for you? How are you holding up? And, it does seem like it took some period of time for everybody, some amount of time different for everybody to sort of settle in. And for me, that was like very clearly 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks. And it's a lot like going into retreat. There's that initial resistance to a deep meditation retreat, and then finally you realize, I'm not going anywhere. I might as well let go of any sort of psychic need, like mental gripping to the outside world. And I think the same is true here, that it took us some amount of time to settle in. And now that I'm settled in, what I'm finding is that I was telling Kendra, I'm not the kind of person who feels like I would be at home, as, for instance, a stay-at-home parent, like who didn't have other work occupying my energy. And that's just because I have an attachment to productivity and things like that. And so, part of my settling in was sort of settling into the fact that the family is together all the time. And, etc., all the other ways in which we settle in. And it seems that now that I have, what is arising in these spacious, quiet, vast moments, even though the day seems to tick by quite quickly as it always does, but despite it, what feels as though it's arising now for the first time is the madhurya, the sweetness of presence, the sweetness of arriving into a moment. Like Elliot and I, Jarrett hung what do you call that? Hammock. He hung a hammock yesterday in our yard. And Elliot and I, before dinner, we were just sitting in the hammock and swinging. And typically I'd be kind of like, okay, I can handle this for like 2 minutes. And that didn't even occur to me yesterday. He was talking about some toy he's obsessed with, and I was so captivated by him and feeling him so deeply. And it's the kind of experience I would typically sort of push away because I have, urgent things that matter more. And because of the vastness of time right now, and because we're not going anywhere, there's just, and I'm not trying to do this, it's happening naturally, there's just settling into the moments. And there's a allowing of what wants to arise, what wants to be born of that moment happens, like a manifesting of sweetness everywhere. And so, for as much sorrow as the world is enduring right now, and I know that it's great, and I think that we will all have people in our lives that we will all be very directly affected by this pandemic if we're not already. And so everybody's talking about the silver linings, right? And to me, it seems that there will be a lot to miss about this time when things come back, when things reopen, when we all leave our houses again. But what is so beautiful is that some of us, for the first time in our lives, are having a taste of this Madhurya. For the first time in our lives, like for an extended period of time, we're feeling what the heart and the mind feel in a retreat, which is moment after moment of Madhurya, of sweetness, just presence. So, while there is so much ache in the heart, in the global heart, there is simultaneously a majesty being born again. And I just want to acknowledge that and really revere that. And it's so interesting that they are on opposite ends of a spectrum, and that's like life. So thank you for being with me. Let's get started. We've got a nice full practice on deck today. 90 minutes, intermediate practice. Please rest when you need to rest. I will try to articulate instructions really clearly. I know some of you aren't regular practitioners in my classes, but if at any point you need some guidance, just chat it to Jarrett and he'll read your question aloud and it'll help me teach you more specifically. Close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out. Inhale. Take note of the Madhurya, the sweetness of the moment. Exhale. Feel your body sit heavy against the ground. Inhale. Fill your vessel completely. Exhale. Feel the support holding you. Do a few more breaths. Arrive ever more in your heart. We'll join the hands. Exhale fully. Inhale fully. Release the hands, open the eyes. Okay, come on to your back. Come lie down. Take your arms out to a T and just simply sweep your knees from side to side. Knees bent, feet as wide as hips. Just windshield wiper. You can rest on the left, cross left ankle over right thigh, and give a little pressure up with the leg, forward and down with the foot. Inhale, come back, knees to the right, cross right ankle on the left thigh, press up with the thigh, and down and forward and down with your foot. Come back. Take your left knee into your armpit. Take hold of the foot and bring the heel of the foot to your right hip point and the knee towards your left chest. Stay here or extend your right leg. Kind of depends on what's going on in your lower back. You might feel some tightness and binding in there, in which case a knee bent is perfectly fine. We're working just a very mild hip opener. Now take the knee away from your body, the foot towards your shoulder, and open up through the outer hip. Again, right leg bent or straight. Reach to the inner thigh. Breathe. And then a half happy baby on this side. Kick up and simultaneously pull down. I feel like in order to maintain integrity in my low spine, I have to hover off the ground a little bit with my right foot. Play with that yourself. And then bring your right knee to meet your left ankle, Suchi Randrasana. So eye of the needle pose, interlace around the right thigh. Your left hand goes into the space between your legs. Breathe in, make some space. Find that natural curve of the lumbar spine. And as you exhale, pull everything in. Inhale, everything unwinds. Let's go right knee to the right shoulder. Breathe here. Take hold of the ankle or the sole of the foot with the left hand. The knee goes to the armpit. The heel comes to the hip, the left hip point. Pull, and then decide if you're going to extend your leg. If when you extend your leg, it rounds your lower back a lot and pulls your pelvis towards the ceiling and a posterior tilt of the pelvis, then maybe keep the foot on the ground, knee bent. Push the knee away. Bring the foot towards your left shoulder. Breathe. Take hold of the foot for happy baby pose. I know I skipped one, I'm coming back for it. And then let's go ankle to knee for Suchi Randrasana. Eye of the needle pose. Interlace your fingers around your left thigh. A little kick forward to find the natural curve of your lumbar spine. And then simultaneously, as you push the right knee away, bring your shin towards your chest. Breathe. Enjoy the slow, methodical, easeful movement. Inhale, unwind, uncross. Take your knees into your chest, and then just rock gently side to side, slow and steady. We did this last night. We're going to rock simply back and forward, but try to rock not on the spine, but rather on the sides of your spine. So on the left side, and then the right side. And you might find that you feel a little unsteady, and so don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Just like a little palpitation of those muscles there, the QLs that run the length of your spine. And then rise to Navasana, like a very easy, breezy Navasana. Legs, shins parallel, arms alongside your legs. Breathe in. And then do it again. Rock back and forward. There are so many different ways to begin a practice, you know? Like, I think if you're accustomed to vinyasa practice, you have this habit in your body of beginning with really rigorous movement, right? Like sun salutation kinds of movements. So this is just one way to begin. It's not better or anything else. It's just another way to approach an embodied practice. Return, Navasana. Try not to touch the ground. And then last one. Try not to touch the ground, and maybe with legs straight, Navasana. And then lie down on your back. Supta Padangusthasana. Legs bent. Interlace around the left leg. Stretch your legs straight. It might need to bend a little. That's perfectly fine. Extend the right leg. Kick into your hands. Head up, shoulders up, climb up your leg. Now take hold of either your shin, ankle, or foot. Head down, and we're going to the left. Now, we're not quite warmed up yet, so allow your foot to rotate. You can see my foot in the screen. A not rotated foot will be parallel to the ground. A rotated foot will literally rotate the head of the leg bone in the hip socket, and that's fine for now. You can favor rotation over extension. Now turn your inner body to the right and anchor your right hip towards the ground. There's a lot of bird conversation in my backyard right now. Inhale, come back, and then listen. You're gonna take your other hand, it's your right one, to the outside of your shin, ankle, or foot. Head on the ground. Now your leg, your left one, right? It's gonna push to the left into your right hand. Dig it? You're firing up the muscles of the outer leg. And then ever so slightly take the foot to the right without letting your left hip come up off the ground. So the foot is kicking to the left, but your arm is taking it to the right without allowing your left hip to come up off the ground. You're not going far, but you will feel your whole outer leg and like the lateral, as opposed to medial, right? The lateral hamstrings expand. Good, release. Second side, interlace around the right thigh. I have no idea if that's really loud for you. Extend your right leg straight. I hope you can still hear me. Extend the left leg. Kick a little bit, and then lift your head and shoulders, crawl up your leg. Take hold of your ankle, shin, or foot, head down. Try to root your down leg down, and let's open the right leg to the right. It's okay to rotate the leg a little bit in the hip socket so that the toes are more down than the heel. Perfectly fine. If you've got a hold of the foot, it's going to be a little easier to do what I'm about to tell you, but you can do it even if you're holding the shin. Anchor your leg back into your hip joint. Inhale, come up, switch hands, grab hold of the outer foot, ankle, or shin. Kick the foot to the right, fire up your outer leg muscles, and then take the foot ever so slightly to the left. You're not going far. Keep the right hip down. Inhale, come back, and release. Roll back to roll forward, downward facing dog. Breathe. Open up through the calves. Pedal through the feet. Soles of the feet expand, the toes spread wide, and then articulate the arches of your feet. So you have 3 arches in each foot. You have your inner arch, which is the arch that everybody thinks about when they say arch. But you also have an outer arch. It's exactly opposite, on the exact opposite side of the inner arch. And then the third arch you have is across the mound of the toes. The inner foot and the outer foot, where your big toe and your pinky toe meet your foot, they are the most grounded. And your middle 3 toes create like a bridge, an arch. Good, come on down to your knees. Take Virasana. So Virasana is your seat between your heels. If that's not comfortable for you, rather than sitting on your heels, I would recommend sitting on your blanket, your dedicated yoga blanket. I'm assuming that that's a standard for you at this point. Here we go, arms up, lateral stretch. We're going to the right. I'm mirroring you. Every time I face the camera, I will be mirroring you. If your body is folding in on itself, find some length underneath you. Extend through those bottom ribs. Keep your back hip rooted down and reach. Tone through the belly as you rise over to the other side. If you feel yourself folding in on yourself, unfurl, walk your down hand farther away, breathe. Inhale, come back, and then we twist over to the right, opposite hand to knee. Anchor your left knee back. Not a super deep twist, it's still early yet. Inhale, center, and to the other side. Anchor your right knee back into your hip. Come back to the middle, over to this side again. Resist, leg and hand into each other, fold laterally, top arm alongside your ear. You're going on a diagonal. Keep your right sit bone heavy. Don't shift your body over there, rather root down over there. Make sense? Different. Inhale, come back, and we twist second side. Back arm up and over on the lateral. Anchor your left sit bone down, root it. Inhale, come back, interlace your fingers behind you. Broaden your chest. And chest is different from the floating ribs. So we work in the sternum to broaden, to widen the collarbones. If your floating ribs are poking out of you, reclaim them. Breathe in, breathe out. Lift the base of the sternum and curl in the upper back. Good. Unwind, downward facing dog. Again, full breath. Roll around one ankle, other ankle, other direction, other direction. And then just prance a little bit, pedaling through your feet, widening your sit bones behind you, getting into your hamstrings, finding space, length, breadth, and step forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Straight legs if you're able to. Blocks if you can't reach the ground. Lengthen the spine. Walk your hands forward. Exhale, take that length, especially in the front plane of the body, with you as you bow. Walk the hands back. Inhale, lengthen. Those of you hyper stretchy people in the hamstrings and lower back, you need to tone the belly more. Hip points to the ceiling, more. Bow, especially as you fold in. Inhale, hands forward, lengthen. Hip points to the ceiling, bow, hands back. Inhale, we rise, tone the lower belly to get there. Exhale, Savasthiti, hands to the sides. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Look up, prepare. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward dog. Breathe here. So in intermediate practice, there is an assumption that you have a solid grasp on keeping your body safe, using alignment and action to stabilize, to create a sense of security in the form. I'll give you some basic guidelines, like right here, put your belly back in, press your thigh bones back. So it's less of a intense stretch in the hamstrings and spine, more holistic. Press the hands down and forward. Bend knees, look forward, and float to the top, lengthen on the breath. Bow. We rise and fold right back in. Look up, prepare. Chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog. Okay, we're doing a little hip mobility number right here. We've done this before, but I know some of you have not done this, so I'm going to describe it very carefully. Take your left leg high and step your foot outside your left hand. Now look at your left shin. Do you see how it's straight up and down? That's going to be something we aim for. Inhale, left leg high, and now tap the ground but shin vertical. That's difficult. Inhale, left leg high, and then hover left foot off the ground, shin vertical. Difficult. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step forward, use your belly. Pick up your left hand and shoot your right leg through without moving your right hand or your left foot. Then come back and step back, downward facing dog. If you've done this before and you're like, what's the big deal? Work to keep your down hand and your down foot stable. No moving at all. Working just mobility in the hip joint. Let's go right leg high. Step your foot outside, shin vertical, notice. Right leg high, tap the ground, shin vertical. Right leg high, hover, you gotta use your belly, shin vertical. Right leg high, and step forward. Pick up your right hand, don't move your right foot or your left hand, shoot it through, and step it back. Downward facing dog. Left leg high, step outside the left hand. Either lift your left hand or harder, keep your left hand down. Don't move hand or foot. Right leg shoots through. You gotta weave it in, and then point your right leg straight ahead. It wants to wing off to the side, right? Inhale, come on back, and step back. Right leg high, step outside. Maybe keep your hands both planted. Keep your hands still, your right foot still. Left leg straight ahead. Don't let it bow out to the right, yeah? Take a breath. Push hands down, protract shoulders, use your belly, and step through. Down dog. Breathe. Get up on ridge tops, unless it feels like you're gonna literally break your hands, and then don't do it, okay? Put your belly back into your body. Inhale, plank, ridge tops. Chaturanga, ridge tops. Upward dog, ridge tops, downward dog. Breathe. Option, flat palms, ridge tops, or I find this much more difficult, fingertips. Some people find ridge tops harder than fingers. I find fingertips harder than ridge tops. Here we go. Plank. No broken fingers, okay? Chaturanga, do it on your knees if it's too much. Upward dog. Oh, the thumbs. Downward dog. And undo your hands. Well, that's interesting. Come down to your knees and have a seat on your heels. We did this in class yesterday, just working some flexors and extensors. So bring your hands together like this, elbows together like this. This is interesting for handstand work. You're gonna keep your elbows touching, your wrists touching, and you're just gonna open your hands like a book, like that. You just wanna see what your range of motion is, yeah? Now some of you will be here, some of you will be more here, flat. If your hand in any position goes farther than that, it means that some other part of your body is compensating for the weight of the action, right? So this is like your functional range of movement. Now, just to strengthen, so flexors, extensors, so to strengthen, take your hands like this. And then without moving the wrist, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze. So elbows down, so your forearm is straight up and down, yes? Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze. You'll feel these muscles working, squeeze, release, squeeze. Now do it in this plane, squeeze, release, squeeze, 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 squeeze. It's difficult, right? You are working your flexors. Ooh, and now give it a break, and give it a break. We're doing it again from this position. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hold it. Keep your wrists bent like this deeply, and then just open your elbows. Open your elbows. Reach through the back of the arm. Come in. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze. Keep your wrists closed, your fists closed. Open your elbows. Into your extensors. Good. Release. All right. We did a little bit more in yesterday's class. If you're interested in wrist work like that, go watch the class from yesterday. It's not up yet though. Okay, here we go. As of today, it's not up yet, but it will be soon. Okay, one more
little forearm wrist number. So these are called first knuckle push-ups. Some of you have done these before with me. So the action is off the wrist, onto the wrist, or off the heel of the palm, onto the heel of the palm. So just do this action a few times, and maybe you feel like there's not much happening here. So if that's you, you need to stabilize your shoulders, stabilize your belly, and when you lift, you do it slow and you pull your thumbs together. And when you lower, you do it slow and you pull the heels of your palms to your knees. Let's go. 10. Exhale. 9. Thumbs pulling in. Exhale. Your forearm should be burning. 8. Pull the heels of the wrists towards the knees. 7. Use your belly. Put it back in you. 6. 5. The thumbs are reaching literally for one another. 4. Your forearm should be like talking very loudly to you. 3. Try not to move the shoulders. Try not to shift forward or back. Keep your head in the exact same place. 2. 1 more for good luck. And 1 right here. And slow. 3, 2, 1. Release. Good. And then roll around in your wrists a little bit. Okay, grab your blanket or your socks. And then you're just gonna give yourself some space by folding the back edge of your mat up to the front edge of your mat. Stand with your feet on the blanket or in your socks, yeah? And then fold over into Uttanasana. Put your hands on the mat. And so all you're gonna do is just slide back to plank, hold it, and forward to Uttanasana. Ooh, my blanket's not perfect. Hold it, back, and forward. Try to lift your hips, stick out your booty, that's 2. Inhale, exhale, hips up. 3, inhale. Now on this one, try to shift your shoulders beyond your wrists, 4, inhale. Hips up, up, up. 5. Inhale. Shoulders beyond wrists. That's 6. Inhale. Try to make the movement even. That's 7. Inhale. Grip the mat. Oh, that's 8. Inhale. That's 9. Last one. Knees into the chest. Good. Give your wrists a break. Squat. Yeah? It's not nothing, right? No joke, that one. Okay. Okay. You can move your blanket out of the way and unfold your mat. Yes. Okay, downward facing dog. Left knee forward, pigeon. Take the back knee as far back as it goes without straining. Let's do it as a hip opener rather than as a back bend. So take your front foot as far forward as it goes. Shin more towards parallel with the front edge of the mat. And then let's just make it mobile. Anchor your foot and then up off the hip, into the back knee, and then down into the outer hip. Up and over to the right, down and into the left. You could just move like that. Good, point your back foot. Make sure your back knee is in the midline and then fold over this leg. Press your hands down and forward, pull your hips back and down. Inhale, come on up. Fold your left knee in tighter. Swing your back leg around. You've got a hold of your right foot. Take hold of the foot and the knee, and then let's just baby cradle this leg. So we did this on our backs at the beginning of class. Either hold the knee and the foot, one in each hand, or bind around the leg like this. If you're somewhere in between the two, like you're not quite here, but you don't feel like you're here, then the middle road is somewhere around here, right? Remember, you're trying to take the knee away from your shoulder and the foot towards your shoulder. Take hold of this foot, lean over onto your left hip. Let's just stretch this leg. Let's reach for vertical. Your hip's gonna be way up off the ground. Good, come back. Take hold of your foot with your hands and then kick forward and simultaneously pull back. Clear the ribs. Kick and pull. Kick and pull. Take your right arm to the inside, grab the back of the calf. Let's go Surya Trasana. Reach your right arm to the right and get your right shoulder in there deeper. Now your shoulder might not make it behind the knee. It might be kind of like your elbow that's behind the knee or somewhere in between. Now take your left hand across the top of the foot, grab the outer foot. Take your right hand fingertips to the ground on your right. Lean over to your left so your right hip is way up off the ground. Internally rotate the leg to get this leg towards straight. And then sit back down, floink the top foot, and walk your right hand away from you. Surya Trasana. Chin off the throat. Top elbow, back, up and back. Take your left leg, extend it straight ahead. Clamp your right leg around your arm wherever you can get it. Place the hands, use your blocks if the ground is too far away from you. Lean forward, suck your legs back into the hip sockets. Ekahasta Bhujasana. Hold it. Option, stay here or sweep your down leg, left leg through the pose, lean forward, Kundanyasana. And release. Okay, we got to do all that again on the other side, starting in pigeon. So, questions, type them out to Jared, okay? If any of that was like, what is happening? How do I get my leg to do blah, 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 blah? Just type it to Jared. Here we go. Second side, downward facing dog. If anybody wants a demo, type demo, and I'll do it again.
I just want to say that was awesome.
That's rad. I want to say you're awesome. Who is that?
Betsy.
Yay. I'm glad you liked it, Betsy. Okay, you probably feel a lot of action on the right side right now, but technically we did pigeon on the left. So let's go right knee forward for pigeon. And you remember we scooched the back knee way back. Point the right foot, and then we're doing that, or actually, sorry, point the right foot if your knee is in an acute angle. Do you remember from geometry class? If your right knee is at less than 90 degrees, that's technically an acute angle, and in that case, point the foot. If your knee is in an right angle, which is 90 degrees, or an obtuse angle, which is more than 90 degrees, then flex your foot. Play with how the way you work the foot controls how you gain access to the hip. Yes? Play. Roll. Anchor the foot. Into the right outer hip, into the left groin. Just work it. Sort of like massaging some space in there, right? All right, fold in when you're ready. So I feel much more bound in my right hip in this particular pose than in my left hip. Like you'll notice that your hips behave differently in pigeon than they do in other hip openers like Baddha Konasana, right? In this particular hip opener, I've got a lot more freedom on my left than on my right. So what that means is that I will feel lift here in the hips, so I have to scooch the back knee back more to gain even greater access. Come on up, sit down on your right hip. You're gonna swing your back leg around, and remember we're doing this little baby cradle number. So either hand to foot, hand to knee, lift the trunk of the body, get out of your seat, right? Here, or the bind here, or somewhere in the middle, right here. There is a tendency to get really collapsed in the mid-back because, you know, the hip doesn't want to work this way. We are always of two minds, you know? the part of us that wants to grow and transform and stretch and find new boundaries. And then that other part of us, which is, you know, convinced that we belong in a small box. Convinced that, you know, life is more manageable if we sit on our couch more and watch more Netflix. You know, that it's just more manageable there, right? We're always of these two minds. Okay, you're gonna grab the foot with your left hand, lean into your right, and just stretch this hamstring. Aim for vertical. You might not get there, it doesn't really matter. And now lift the heart. Now keep your leg where it is and sit back down. Yeah, so I'm not mirroring you now, but I think you've got it. You are on the correct side. Hold the foot with the opposite hand. Take your left arm through, grab the back of the calf with your hand like this. Make a cup with your hand. Hold the back of the hand, hold the back of the calf. And then use that like leverage. Draw your shoulder in deep. Use it like leverage. It's like putting a really heavy backpack on. And then you know how like when you're holding a really heavy bag, you have to pick yourself up to be a steady weight underneath. If you take this arm over here, you will find more space. Now here we are, holding onto the ground with the left hand, holding onto the top of the foot, grabbing the outside with the right, leaning to the right, internally rotating the leg to get the leg towards straight. It doesn't have to make it. Now sit back down. Suryantrasana, sundial pose. Pull the down ribs out from underneath you. You feel stuck. Everybody feels stuck. That's fine. Go for it. Push against that boundary. Breathe. Full breath. Look at the screen. Good, come on out. Ooh la la. All right, so the down leg extends straight out. The up leg stays here for Ekahasta Bhujasana, so you gotta get in there a little bit more, right? Because you probably lost it a little bit. Pull the left ribs through. Place the hands in Chaturanga position. Clamp onto your arm with your left leg. Now your left shoulder is getting all like Eeyore-ish on us, right? So let's pick up the left shoulder, right? Pick it up, lengthen that side. Lean forward, use blocks under your hands if this is too heavy. Pull your hips back and then puff your right leg high. Puff it up. Hold it, hold it. Or sweep the right leg through. Take the left leg straight out. Kundinyasana, 2. And release. Good. All right. So we're gonna do that transition one more time on either side. So I'm just gonna show it to you again. And you're just going from Ekahasta Bhujasana to Ekapada Kundinyasana. Eka means one, hasta is hand, pada is foot. So Ekahasta Bhujasana and Ekahasta Kundinyasana. Kundin is the name of a sage from days of yore. So I'll show you the transition and then I'm gonna come and watch you and throw out some cues, okay? So I'll just do it on the same side. So we get in, don't underestimate this part, the hip opener, puff it up. I like to lift my foot first and then I like to lift. Press into the hands. The whole thing can be done on blocks. Weave it through. Now you gotta pick up your hips as you lean forward. Notice that the front leg extends now. This pose right here is one-legged Bakasana 2. Okay? If there are questions, chat them in. Otherwise, I'm coming over and watching you do it. Okay, so let's go right leg up. Right leg up into Ekahasta Bhujasana. Take the time to get your shoulder as deep underneath the knee as you can. Some of you have a lot of mobility, and so what's needed is actually that clamping action. So once your leg is as high up there as it's going to get, Clamp your leg around your arm, lean forward, press your arms to straight, and with the foot on or off the ground, see if you can puff up. Now that knee, that up knee, it's bowing out wide to the right, correct? Hug it in. Now lean forward. Take weight into your hands as you fold your down leg underneath you. Shift more forward, 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 forward. And then if you need to kind of like bounce, bounce, bounce on that foot, just do it. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And then hug the midline with the back leg to float. Good. Yeah, Betsy. Yeah, Abigail, good. I see that some of you are taking rest now. Perfect. Okay. Good. If you have questions, chat them in. Otherwise, second side, left leg. Work the shoulder underneath the knee. Work the shoulder underneath the knee. Good. Full breaths. Your foot is bowing out to the left, right? Your leg is externally rotating. Internally rotate that leg. Yeah, so your foot turns more in a parallel plane. Now lean forward as you fold the right leg into your body. You have to lean way forward into your fingertips to shoot the right leg through. That's it. Good, Rachel. Lean forward. Lean forward. Good. Yeah. Nice work. All right. We'll meet up in downward facing dog if you need to give your wrists a break. Or actually, let's just come into like a squat or whatever, just a seat. Make a light fist with your right hand, thumb to the inside. So not a squeeze, squeeze, just a light fist. Take your inner wrist bone and your outer wrist bone. Squeeze them together. So not front, back, but side, side. Squeeze them together. And then pull with your left hand, pull down to your elbow. And then a little bit of rolling around. And then take your fingers, not as wide as they can go, but just like they're natural wide, whatever that means. Natural wide. And then stretch your fingertips away from your palm. You're still pulling the skin and the bones of the wrist down to the elbow. Yeah? All right, feel better? Let's do the other side. Light fist, inner, outer wrist bones squeeze together. Pull the entire wrist joint down to the elbow. And then a little bit of rolling around. Keep pulling down, down, down from your inner and outer wrist bone. And then extend the fingers and stretch them out of the wrist, the front and the back. So not just the front of the hand, also the back of the hand. Make sense? All right, better? Cool. Downward dog. Let's do a little handstand play. So just like you just did in that wrist exercise, rather than opening your fingers absolutely as wide as they can go, just like a natural nice width is enough. Grip the mat, shoulders over wrists, 1 foot forward about 1/3 of the way. Press your hands down so that your shoulders protract. Pick up and hold it, or just play. Full breath. If you have a wall, you can turn around and use it. Let's meet up in downward dog. Left foot forward, triangle pose. Tuck the left hip deep underneath your body. Extend the right arm high. Arm over the ear. Head back. Hands down. Jumper walk switch. Pull the right leg straight. Anchor the inner foot into the ground on the front leg. Arm high. And alongside the ear. Now take your head back. Without shoving your hips forward. Head back. Downward dog. Come on down to your knees. You might benefit from a block between your thighs in Ustrasana, camel pose, if you know that it's difficult to keep your legs hugging the midline in this pose. So in that case, take a block between your thighs and give a squeeze. Anytime we move towards back bends, you could also, by the way, take this block between the shins. You would go this wide. Anytime you move towards back bends, the knees will tend to splay out, the feet will tend to turn open. All that is because you've got a natural back bend happening in your lumbar spine, and when you move into a back bend, your body is like, oh, there? Let's go there. And when you move into a deeper back bend in your lumbar spine, your pelvic girdle in front opens, your knees widen, and all that creates constriction and confinement in the lumbar spine as your lumbars and your sacrum vie for space down there. So we hug the knees to the midline, we hug the shins into the block, and we use that as like proprioceptive awareness. Keep ourselves out of our lumbars. Here we go, hands to the hips. Push down, lift the heart. Curl, push down, lift the heart. Elbows in tight towards each other behind you. Take your left hand to your left heel. I've got my toes curled under, and then take your right arm vertical. Draw the head of the right arm into the shoulder socket, and then stretch the arm overhead. Squeeze the block. Come up head last, and release. You can have a kind of a seat, give yourself a break, and then come back in. Squeeze the block. Hands to the hips, root down, lift the heart, curl in the upper back. Lift the heart, tone the belly, curl in the upper back. Take your right hand to your right heel, left arm vertical. Now this is an arm that is dislodged from the shoulder joint, and this is an arm that is sucked back, right? Remembered into the shoulder joint. And then take the arm back. Inhale, come up, head last. Breathe. Round 2 or 3, depending on how you're counting. Come on up. Hands to the hips. It's not enough to root the hips down. You have to draw the deep abdomen in and up, more than you think. More than you think, without clenching your booty. Inhale, lift the heart. I mean, it's okay to use your butt, that you've got big muscles back here, but don't let them drive the hips forward and create a kind of seizing in the psoas, yeah? Inhale, tone the belly, lift the heart. Curl, lift the heart. Curl, lift the heart. Curl, one hand, 2 hands. Camel. Breathe. Head last, inhale up. Exhale, sit. Not everybody loves that pose so very much. Take your blocks or your big books if you're using them, and we're gonna build onto Ustrasana with a pose that one of my old teachers used to call pigeon droppings. It's not the most lovely name, but you're gonna take your 2 blocks and stack them behind you. And the idea is to get your head, the top of your head, to tap the blocks. Yeah? So again, assume camel position. Now you don't have a block probably to squeeze with your shins. If you don't have blocks, you guys, don't worry about it. Just imagine blocks or use big books or something like that. But also, it's okay. If you don't have blocks, you just make it work, fudge it. All right, here we go. Hands to the hips, root down, tone the lower belly, and lift up out of the hips. Now you're gonna take your arms into a goalpost position with the elbows pressing back. And when you press the elbows back, you will feel the tips of your shoulder blades engage the base of the heart forward and up. Can you feel that? You need that. Tuck your chin. Keep the back of the neck long, especially right before you lay your head back. Inhale, lift the heart. Moving pose, curl. Lift, come out of it a little. Curl. Come out of it a little. Curl. Come out of it a little. Curl. Out of it a little. Keep going. Breathe. Inhale. And sit. Now, if that's really fun for you, You can, and you've got more space, you can make your blocks lower. The option is to take this into Kapotasana. Hands, head to the ground, hands on either side of the head. It's full pigeon pose. But I don't know how many of you are gonna be into that story. So I'm gonna leave Kapotasana for you to explore right here. And then the rest of us will keep playing with pigeon droppings. Or, like I know like Nikki and Abigail, you might be going into Kapo right now. Great, so just do that here. Otherwise, we're doing pigeon droppings and Ustrasana variations. You can follow me. Here we go. Inhale, lift the heart. Elbows press back. Lift. Every time you breathe in, you lift up out of your sternum. Out of your ribs, out of your hips. Curl. Press the elbows back. Lift up a little. Curl. Breathe. Curl. Breathe. Curl. Breathe. Press elbows back. Breathe. Breathe. Now either stay here or take your heels for camel. If you have your heels, point your feet now. Full breath. Play with it. Explore. It's your lab. Head last. Come on up. Goalpost arms. And have a seat. Take a few breaths of rest. Good. A lot of action in the quads, right? Okay, so you can get rid of your blocks. Grab your strap or just have your strap handy. Downward facing dog. Okay, so you've just done a nice set of back bends. We've got more on deck. If you take your upper inner thighs in, back, and apart, it will increase the back bend. So just a little bit of length in the spine. But now we need to pull the navel powerfully to the spine and take the outer hips, the fleshy part of the hips, straight back. Back. And that will stabilize your low spine. Heels towards the earth, pulling your navel into your body and stabilizing the low spine. Press the hands down and float to the top. Lengthen and fold. Lengthen and fold again. One more time. And fold. Now using the tone of the belly, right? The cycle of energy, we call it a pelvic loop. The back of the pelvis grounds down, the front of the pelvis lifts up. Like the pubic bone is reaching for your navel. The sit bones are reaching for your heels. Come up, come up, come up all the way, arms up, and Samastitihi. That might not have been clear. I'm sorry if that didn't make much sense. Okay, grab your strap. So just from shoulder opening, we're moving towards Natarajasana, with or without a strap. So first, arms overhead, just working a bit of a shoulder opener here. Resist the temptation to let the head of the shoulder bone poke forward. Take the inner armpits back with the hands, with the strap. And then over to the right, just opening laterally. Hips go powerfully to the left. Inhale up and over to the left. Take the strap back. Hips go to the right. Inhale up, back again. Now you're just gonna bend the left elbow, take the right arm vertical, and then slide your left hand down the strap until you can get the strap vertical. And then take the whole strap back in space. So enough distance between your two hands that you can stretch the strap, arm straight, strap vertical, and then take the whole thing back in space. Relax your throat. Good, come back, and let's go to the other side. Left arm vertical, right arm down. Enough distance between your hands that you can get the strap vertical, and then take the whole thing back in space. Put your ribs back in, your booty back in. Good, come on back. Take a little bit less distance, arms overhead. Take your left knee, bend, and open to the left. Left elbow to left knee, tap. Inhale up, switch, bend, open. Get in there, tap. Come back. Now, maybe with less of a bend in the elbow, okay? Left knee, open, knee high, as high as it'll go, and then reach. Hold it, come back. Second side, bend the right knee, open the right knee. Take the knee first as high as it'll go. Get grounded through your down leg, and then let's go, elbow, and come back. Good. Release. Roll out in your shoulders a little bit. Okay, we're gonna come back to standing for Nataraj momentarily, but I want us to do a little shoulder opening, front and back play first. So come lie down on your belly. Take your left arm out to a T, but be on fingertips and lift the armpit away from the ground. Then plant the hand. Then roll over onto your left hip. Get your left, like the flesh of your left chest out of the way. Walk your left hand towards the front corner of the mat. Bend your right knee, put your foot on the ground. You can use your right hand like leverage. Stay here or keep rolling and put your left foot on the ground. You gotta breathe and you gotta be self-respecting and honest. Put your left thumb and your left index finger into the ground hard. Come on back. Ooh la la. Very nice. Second side. Right arm to a T. Press the right hand down so your right shoulder, armpit, all of that lifts up away from the ground. Now roll over onto your right hip and put your left foot on the ground. The head of your right arm bone is pressing into the ground, right? Pick it up. Use that shoulder opener. Press the right thumb and index finger down. If you have room, keep going. Put your right foot on the ground. Deep twist. Full breath. Inhale, come on out. And then I'm going to show you this one head on. On your belly, crisscross your elbows. Can you guys see? Crisscross your elbows. You're moving into this position. Okay? I don't think I have enough room. So crisscross your elbows and then walk your hands as far away from one another as they'll go. Yeah? Good, and then let your head just sort of hang heavy. Get into the backs of your shoulders a little bit. Full breaths. Use your breaths. Enjoy your breath. Come on out. Crisscross the other way. Other arm on top, and then walk your hands away from each other. Come on back. Okay, downward facing dog. I think of down dog as home base. It's like you slide into home base and you're like, home. It's such a probably overly practiced pose, to be perfectly honest with us, but it feels very good, and it's sort of like you know, trying to solve a difficult math equation and then you just erase the chalkboard and start afresh. Okay, comes to the top of the mat, look up, hands to the hips, grab your strap and stand up. Okay, so Natarajasana, Lord of the Cosmic Dance. Nataraj, a form that it's said in the Hindu scriptures that Lord Shiva, who is the creator and the destroyer of all things, the energy that manifests and demanifests all things, It's said that when creating the universe, he took the form, or we could equally say she took the form of Nataraj, the dancer, Lord of the cosmic dance. And that in the form of Nataraj, Shiva blissfully danced the universe into existence. So that's the energy of this pose, however that lands on your heart right now. All right, so I like to start with a strap. You don't need to make a loop. You just create like kind of a sling, like a hammock. And then you're just gonna stand, let's say stand on your right foot. And then just let your left foot sit in the sling. All right, so the first thing is the knee points down, and then you'll take both hands up and over to the strap behind you. Don't climb down the strap yet. Let's just work in the leg and the arms. Let's not try to work in the spine just yet. Close your elbows a little bit and suck your armpits back. Kick a little into the strap, just a little is enough. Tone the lower belly, keep the knee pointing down, and start using your hands to lift your foot. Using your hands to lift your foot. Let's see if we can go straight arms. And then release. Straight arms and then release. And then you just go to the other side. Sling your other foot. Point that knee straight down. That knee, just like in any back bend, will want to splay wide. It will want to avoid the back bend in the thoracic spine where there isn't already a back bend. Yeah? So you have to be diligent with how you use your legs. Hold on to the strap with both hands. Suck your armpits back. Get your shoulders strong on the back plane of the body. Now tone the lower belly. Stay out of the low spine. And then use your hands to pick up your foot. We're not hinging at the hips yet. Just use your hands to pick up the foot. Let's see if we can go straight arms. And release. Very good. Yeah? Okay, put your hands on your knees and your knees out wide. Just do a little sumo squat right here. Feet wide, knees wide, and then squat. We're doing it again. So wide, wide, wide feet, like this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, so you're just going to twist to the right. Get into that shoulder a little bit. The back of the shoulder, scapula. Breathe. And then over to the other side. Back of the shoulder and scapula. And then do it again. Drop your hips more. This time do your elbow on your knee. Get in deeper. Get into your thighs even, into your hamstrings, into your groin. And come back. Elbow on the knee. Okay, come on back. Let's do it again. So the difference between this set and the last set is that we were more upright in the trunk of the body on the first set. In this one, we're gonna let the hinge happen at the hips so that the belly is facing the ground, but we still work the chest towards the wall. So chest in more vertical position, belly in more horizontal position. Check, check. Same setup. So sling your first foot, whatever your first foot was. I know some of us were on the other one. Okay, so here we have the foot. Notice I'm not like insisting on bringing my hand close to my foot yet. Just take a comfortable grip. Your hands are holding both straps. Get your foot just right in the sling. Point the knee straight down, don't let it bow out. Now suck your armpits back to hollow them. Put your ribs back in, tone your low belly. And then just like we did before, use your hands to lift your foot. And then start hinging at your hips when you can't go any further. And then if you want to, climb up the strap. Breathe. Inhale, come on out. Beautiful poses. Questions? Text them in. I'm not at all concerned with how close you are to your foot. I would much rather you do this pose with a ton of length, of strap length between your hands and your foot and zero pain in your lower back. If you want to grow your back bends, Don't compromise. Like, it's not a no pain, no gain situation over here. You are working. You will be stretching boundaries, but you should not be feeling a knife, you know, in your low back like that. Yeah? There should be total ease in your lumbars. You should be feeling like the whole body is working collectively. Chat your questions in if you have them. Okay, here we go. Switch sides. A lot of like super conservative strap grip. Yeah, lots of length here. Grab on both hands, get a nice strong grip. Point the knee straight down. That means your ankle will go wide. Suck your armpits back to open your upper chest, lift your chin. Put your ribs in your body. Phase 1, use your hands to pick up your foot. Phase 2, hinge at your hips. Phase 3, full stretch. Good. Belly horizontal, chest vertical. Nice. Good. Come on out. Nice work. Take a wide stance. Wider this time. Prasarita Padottanasana. We're twisting. Twisting is great to do after deep back bends. Take your hands to the ground. Right hand underneath your face. Left arm high. Pick up your right hip. And then walk right hand towards the left. Either hold the ground or grab the foot, ankle or shin, and deep twist. Go for length. Heart forward, then twist. Heart forward, then twist. Again, heart forward, then twist. Inhale, unwind. Place your left hand where your right was. Right arm high. Pick up your left hip. Walk your left hand towards your right foot. Stay on the ground or grab on. I find that if I take my outer foot, I have leverage if you can reach. Inhale, head forward, twist. Head forward, lengthen the front of you, twist. Again, forward, twist, and inhale, unwind. Take your feet as wide as your outer hips. Take your left ankle with your right hand. Left hand forward, beyond your head, on the ground, twist. Lengthen, twist. Walk your your left hand towards the right. Inhale, unwind. Second side, bind. Lengthen and twist. Walk your extended hand over to the other side. Some of you will grab your foot. Inhale, unwind. Turn your feet out and squat. Take your right arm wide, left arm high. Flip the hand, go behind the back, and bind around your left hip. Open. Inhale, extend. Let's do the other side. Flip the top hand, go behind the back. Bind if you have the room around your hip. Lengthen. Inhale, unwind. Have a seat, keep your legs just like this. And now just extend your left leg. Point your foot and bring your heel to your outer groin. Point your foot, heel to outer groin. You with me? All right, so I will guide it like I'm mirroring you. So your left leg is extended, right leg folded. So we're starting with a twist. If you can bring your right foot into Virasana, which means the foot is outside the hip, do that. If your knee prohibits you from bending your leg like that, do Janu, like we were just doing, a wide Janu. Now, if you're in Virasana on this leg, lift yourself up. Take your left hand underneath your groin, sit on your arm, and grab your outer ankle. Does that make sense? If you are in Virasana, lean forward, lift your hips. Take your left arm, weave it underneath your body so that when you sit down, you are sitting on your forearm, and then grab your outer ankle. If you are in Janu Shirshasana, right, a wide Janu Shirshasana, which is this, then you're holding your knee or thigh, okay? So it's a big lateral forward fold. So whatever variation you're in, fold inside of and on top of your left leg. If you're in Virasana, use your free hand and get your foot in tight to your body. Take your down shoulder, for you it's your left one, inside your thigh, and then fold. Extend the other arm. Now your back hip, for you it's your right. It's gonna lift off the ground, that's fine. For our purposes right now, that's fine. Take your free hand, turn open your ribs, turn open your chest. Either extend the arm or bind the foot. Breathe. Full breath. Your other foot, it's your left one. Turn those toes straight up. Inhale, come out, unweave your arm, keep this leg where it is. Twist your belly to the left and fold. Reach with your right hand. Grab either the foot, ankle, or shin. Bow. Inhale, come on up. Ooh! Now take your extended leg, it's your left one, bring it straight ahead. If you are in Virasana on your right side, take the knee across the other knee and then extend. If you're in Janu, just extend. Second side, squat. Have a seat. Extend your right leg. Left foot in a wide Janu Shirshasana or a wide Virasana. Yeah, the legs are making wider than 90 degrees, like your thigh, your groin, wider than 90 degrees as best you can. Okay? So if you're in Virasana, you lift, you weave your right arm through as far as you can, grab the outer ankle or shin, right? Bring the foot in tight. Take your shoulder, if you're in Janu, you grab the thigh or the knee, depending on the length of your limbs. Take your shoulder inside your knee. Get comfortable, take the time you need. Your back hip will lift up. Now take your free hand and unfurl your body. Remind your body to turn open. Go for it, arm. Grab on if you can reach, but if you can't reach, y'all, it just straight up does not matter. Just extend like a love arrow out of your chest. Enjoy the breath. Make it sweet. Find the madhurya. Inhale. Unwind that arm if you're sitting on it. And you have this opposite arm over there already. Let your back hip lift way up off the ground. Twist and fold. Inhale, come on up. Good. Bring your extended leg, your right one, straight ahead. If you're in Virasana, this knee crosses the other knee and then extends. It's just a safe way to exit Vira. That's all. Baddha Konasana. 2 sets. First one with a block between the feet. Lift hips, tilt your pelvis backward so that there is more of an anterior tilt, an arch to the lower back, a back bend rather than a forward fold. And then let's just stay here. Press feet together, or rather into the block if you're using it. And then draw your heels powerfully to your groin. That will fire up your inner thighs. And then from the sacrum, extend out and down through your knees. Allow your feet to start opening up like a book, which is difficult. That means that your inner feet are pulling away from the block and your outer feet are pressing into the block. Enjoy the breath. And then you're just gonna bring the knees together, get rid of your block, and bring your feet together. Listen, if you don't have blocks, just make it work with something else. It's no big deal. Or don't use a block. Press feet together. Open them up like a book if you have that rotation in your ankle. But keep pressing outer feet into each other, or whatever part of your foot is in contact with the other, into each other. Draw your heels powerfully to your groin, and from your sacrum, reach out and down to your knees. Arms forward and fold. Enjoy the breath. Bask in the breath, the sweetness of the breath. Inhale, come on up. Grab your outer knees and bring your legs together. Take a moment of rest. And then lie back for Shavasana. So I'm running a few minutes late, which is so typical in this Zoom situation because it takes us a few minutes to get going. If you need to turn off the computer right now and just kind of take your own Shavasana, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll take a nice, proper Shavasana. Lie back. Take your feet out wide. Hands wider than feet, palms open. Take a big breath. And through your mouth, do a nice sigh of release. Do it again. Exhale fully. Let the weight of your bones sink into the support of the ground. Let your muscles release their grip. Your skin become totally soft, like a blanket. Take rest.
Enjoy the breath. Awaken your fingers and your toes. Stretch your arms and your legs. Bend a knee, roll to the side, press yourself up to a seat. Take a moment to feel. Breathe in. I hope you feel good. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.